Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cool Crone. And Gerald and I, as is our wont, are here to discuss Imbolc. And if you don't know what it is, you will very soon. Hi, Gerald. Thank you for
Hello.
joining me.
Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here. I love talking about this stuff with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
yeah. So go ahead and tell us what's going on with you before we get into Imbolc and just let everybody know what's happening.
I'm actually doing some planning for my celebration next Friday
Nice.
because that's the day we celebrate. I have got some wonderful shows coming up. A special one on Sunday, which is hosted by Colleen, the Cool Crone. Have you heard
Oh,
of Colleen?
yeah.
Neat lady. And so that's the Okay, it's not envisioning a new world. It's called something else now.
Reveal the future.
Reveal the future. Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to that, and I'm fortunate this next week to have a couple of lives where I'm doing readings with people.
Fun.
So I enjoy that. I'm still doing private readings. People can get a hold of me. They can send me an email. So I like doing the private readings. I get to use all of my skills. And when people pay for an hour, it's really about 90 minutes because I can't shut up. So maybe I'll change that. Maybe I won't. So
No, that's good. They're getting their money's worth. Oh, that's wonderful. Well,
uh,
great. So, what's going on for me? So, I'm making shameless plugs for more people to subscribe to my channel because I really want to make it to 5,000 subs by Ostara, which
nice.
is the spring equinox, March
Mhm.
21st this year, I think. And also to let everybody know that I have opened up memberships for my channel.
Oh,
And so people can go and they can join. The first level membership is like badges and emojis, so we know who you are in the chat. And then the next level has those things, and also you're invited to a live stream every month to do personal readings.
ooh.
The next level has all of that junk. In addition, you qualify for a discount on readings with me. So, some kind of fun things. I didn't want to promise too much and not be able to deliver. So, I just have the one monthly meeting for everybody to come on and I'll do some readings for them. Um, just because, yeah, I mean, I'm still working full time. So, I have a lot of stuff going on, but I did want to make it worth their while. And in order to say thank you for supporting me, that'd be really great. Um, let's see. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I have both of our URLs in the description. So if people are just, stumbling upon us and don't know who we are, they can probably see our URLs in the description. So,
They can, and they're part of the best chatters, whether or not they like it.
oh, that's great. Well, thank you everybody for being here. And
Yes.
we are going to dive in and talk about one of the lesser known Sabbats called Imbolc. So,
Yes.
Gerald, do you want to start us off with what you have?
Yes. Yes, I am an overachiever, everybody. So come for me, YouTube. It's okay. I can handle you.
Mhm.
Um, in thinking about the wheel of the year, and this is north or Yule here in the northern hemisphere, and this is south, which is the summer solstice and the winter solstice. This is the equinoxes. This is coming up to Ostara, which we need to get Colleen to her right number.
Mhm.
Imbolc or Imolc is right here. It's the halfway point between these two celestial events.
That's right.
And so this is still the darker part of the year. But our focus shifts a little bit.
Mhm.
So uh, as we think about, with Yule, there's a lot of things because we're all staying inside because it's cold. We're sitting around the fire. We're telling stories. We're doing the education that we couldn't during the summer because we were all working out in the fields.
Mhm.
This is that opportunity. This is when we shift to go and, okay, so I've got the family set. I am thinking about what it is for me am I going to create in the upcoming year. So this is oftentimes a very internal celebration.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, very important in my practice. This is the one where if we are doing if we are planning a working that's going to take all year, it starts on Imbolc
Mhm.
because it's and we'll talk a little bit more about what that all means. But it's one of those things that we I also like to think we move from the darkness of Yule and the dark colors to we're getting more and more light all of the time. And let's face it, when we were a long time ago, we were noticing that the sun was staying in the sky longer, and that was a good thing.
Yeah.
So very, very good thing, because it's I can't really say, Colleen, that we're done with the coldest parts of the year, because we still have some of those in February, because
Mhm.
that's what happens. But we're moving, we're shifting, we're doing things like mending, making sure that we are now getting ready to be able to go out. We're sharpening our tools.
Mhm.
Um, so, and there's some great activities to do related to that magically. Uh, and and for those of you who are watching, you're going, "Oh, I'm not magical," and I'm going, "You're probably more magical than what you want to admit," because New Year's is a great time to decide, "Oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this." Imbolc is a great time to shift and go, "I'm going to start doing this." So I'll stop and let you catch up, let you talk.
Okay, so from my perspective, the first thing that people usually ask when I tell them, yeah, I'm celebrating Imbolc, is they just kind of go, well, what is that? They've probably never heard of it because it is a cross-quarter holiday. As you showed in the diagram, it's not one of the big four. It's not an equinox and it's not
Hmm.
a solstice. It's something that happens in between.
Yep.
It is showing that we're getting more light. So, what for me, what Imbolc brings is the very beginning of spring. This is when
Yes.
you might begin to see little tendrils of plants and flowers pushing up through that still kind of crusty, almost frozen earth and beginning to show themselves, which tells
Yes.
us that the bounty of Gaia is on its way.
Hmm.
So, you already explained about winter solstice and everything, but that's a quarter holiday, and that is when Capricorn starts. The sign of Capricorn is at 0 degrees at the winter solstice. There's no such demarcation at Imbolc except for the sun being at 15 degrees Aquarius. So when the sun hits 15 degrees Aquarius, which this year is going to be on February 4th or 5th, depending upon where you live, that's real Imbolc. And, we all live in this 3D muggle world. Nobody can celebrate on a Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to go
Yeah.
with the weekends. So that's usually when most people try to work it. Now, the spring equinox, which is my kind of goal time, that is a change of sign. That's when Aries starts. And
Mm.
so these quarter holidays start at the 0 degrees of the astrological cardinal signs. Cardinal means to start. And so it's a real decided shift of energy, right? Because you're going from one sign to the other. The cross quarters are a little gentler because we're in the midpoint of, I think it's all the fixed signs we're at the midpoint of. So that's kind of cool.
Hmm.
All right. So now another thing about this crazy holiday is most people don't know how to pronounce it. They see the word, it's usually referred to as Imbolc, Imbolc, or Imbolg. And it really, those names really refer to two different things, but because they're so close together, people just kind of, yeah, Imbolc, they don't know what to say. So the word Imbolc or Imbolg with a G at the end really means in the belly of the mother. And this is because at this time of year, see, can you hear me? I just realized my microphone is like 10 feet away from me.
I can hear you.
Okay, well, I hope I don't blast you out.
I can hear you really well now. Yes.
Sorry. Do you want me to turn myself down?
Nope.
Okay. So in the belly of the mother is when the seeds are starting to germinate under the ground and push up, as I said before. Now, oimelc is another way that we refer to it, and that's Oimelc. That's a whole different word. That isn't just a slightly different spelling of Imbolc. It's another word that means ewe's milk. And so this would be the time of the year where a lot of the sheep and lamb are dropping calves, and they are heavy with milk. Even cows may be dropping calves, or the deer that you see outside are dropping calves. So as a result, all of these larger animals are producing milk. So milk has become a really big correspondence for Imbolc.
Yes.
Now, somebody else put in the chat, is this the Brigid holiday? Well, the Catholic Church appropriated the Sabbat as Saint Brigid's Day, as they had already appropriated Breed, which is the goddess Breed, to be a saint. They were trying like hell to get all the pagans to come to their stupid little church. And so they just took the pagan holidays, the pagan deities, and just kind of remade them, rebranded them as Catholic deities.
Yeah.
And Breed is no exception. She got folded in there. I mean, at least they'd used a woman. At least they didn't just pass her over for somebody else. That was kind of cool. But the correspondences for Breed are very similar to the correspondences for oimelc. At least the correspondences that they brought over for Saint Brigid's Day are similar to what they were for Imbolc. Actually, Breed has so many other correspondences. She was a metal worker. She did all sorts of cool stuff. We won't get into all of that, but a lot of times people will celebrate the goddess Breed on Imbolc just because that's what the Catholic Church has done. And so for you recovering Catholics out there, this is something you can hang your hat on. It's Candlemas, it's St. Michael's Day, it's Breed's Day, it's St. Brigid's Day, it's Imbolc, it's oimelc, it's all those things. It's in the lunar calendar, okay, or the Lunar New Year. So it's all of those things. And, the Catholic Church was just happy to have people to have butts in the chair, basically. So,
yeah.
All right. So I'll shut up for a while and you go ahead and talk.
Well, I think it's really interesting. This is another fire celebration.
Yeah.
Because as you said, it means in the belly. And so all of this stuff, this is when we have those stirrings, that stuff is going on, yet we cannot see it yet. Those yearnings, this is when, as you said, this tendrils coming out. I think somebody had mentioned crocus. That's the first sign. Those are amazing things to really notice. But Gaia has actually said, all right, it's time to start getting up, waking up. And there's movement. There's definite movement. So, and a lot of times this is, like I said, this is a fire celebration. It's a celebration of light, that returning of the sun. So, it's called Candlemas. And okay. And I told Colleen backstage, one of the things that I do in my personal practice on Imbolc, I bless all of the candles that I'm using throughout the year, because I want them to have all of this energy to it. And and so maybe I have 400 candles and I don't use 400 candles. Well, I'm blessing them a second time. So basically, I got them in a big box and do the work. So the celebrations oftentimes use milk, as you had said, because the udders and the mothers are heavy with milk to feed their young. And I'm looking at my notes because this is also a time of the year, because we're getting ready to go into the full year and be really active. I clean all of my altars.
Yeah, cleaning is a big one
Yeah.
for this holiday. Yeah.
Getting rid of all of those old stuff that doesn't serve you, the old herbs.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I had mentioned doing the mending,
Mm-hmm.
sharpening of the tools, because we're going to need that as we come into the new year.
Yeah,
So,
sharpening of the tools goes along with Breed because she was a metalsmith.
yep.
So that's another connection with Breed.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Really.
So okay. So yeah, a couple of other correspondences. If you're going to do a ritual for Imbolc, you might want to have wine on the altar. Wine would be a connection to the old ones, the ancestors.
Yes.
And I really don't know any Sabbats that don't revere the ancestors. I mean, you can kind of bring that into almost any of them, but this one definitely.
Yes.
Candles, as we mentioned, in colors of the sun or white, because you're welcoming back the sun, although it's not the full blown coming back like midsummer. It is, it is coming. You can notice it. You can see it when you're coming home from work. It's just not quite as dark out. White flowers and plants, also dried flowers, but anything that's white or yellow or red or orange. So, like a lot of people's correspondences, if you go to 6 different websites to look for correspondences, you're going to come away with, 6 sets of correspondences because you can make almost anything work. And
Yeah.
really, when it comes to this stuff, we're all just, in the 3D world. We're not going to invest in a whole, library of stuff just for Imbolc. We're going to use what we have, and that's kind of traditional. Some things about food that you might want to use. I personally don't drink milk, but I do eat cheese. So cheeses, wheels of cheese, little round cheeses,
Yes.
oranges, those are round like the sun, balls in general. You can bring in dairy, although a lot of my friends can't eat dairy anymore.
No. Yeah.
So we're not doing so much of that. If you eat meat, lamb and mutton,
Mhm.
seeds and dried foods, because they represent the seeds
Oh,
coming up
yes.
from the earth. So even things like raisins or dried tomatoes or something,
Mhm.
winter vegetables, onions, potatoes, squash, and also, and this one I think is hilarious because it's so modern, flaming foods. So cherries jubilee, crepe Suzette, light them on fire.
Wow. Oh, I like that. Okay.
So if you got something, fresh herbs, or if you have to use dried herbs, you can use dried herbs.
Mhm.
But try to use fresh if you can, especially rosemary, sage, and heather. And I'm not sure heather is edible or not, but you can have it on your altar. I haven't checked. I didn't look it up. And then stones. Now, stones. This is another one where I mean, people just go a little bananas, okay? If you don't have these stones, you don't have to go out and buy the stupid stones. You look around and you see if you have something that will fit in, right?
Yeah.
So for stones, like uh well, first of all, the sacral chakra is the chakra that corresponds to this
Okay.
particular uh celebration. And so that has to do with the womb. So what do men do? They refer to the family jewels. Okay,
Yes.
just make a substitution. You don't have to get all weird about it. Oh, I'm
Exactly.
no, you don't. Okay, we all have the mechanical things. That's what
Yes.
we're referring to.
Yes.
So one stone is carnelian. They're usually kind of orange like this.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, in a pinch, you could use citrine. It's not orange, but it's close. It's fire, sun colored. I even have, what is this? This is just a little yellow calcite. You could use
Nice.
something like that. Um, and anything that falls into that yellow, white, or orange category. Now, one stone that I really love for this holiday and that I didn't know existed until I had done this holiday, presented this holiday to my coven, was orange selenite. What a
Oh,
cool stone. What a cool stone. It's a selenite. It purifies all your other stones so you don't have to constantly be putting them out on the window ledge. Because let's face it, after about 10 minutes, most of us have so many goddamn stones that it takes a goddamn wheelbarrow to get them out to the window ledge. There's just too many, right? And they're all over the place. They're in this altar, they're on that altar. They're working. These are working stones. So you don't necessarily want to pick them up all the time. So get yourself some good selenite and just pop selenite around your house so that
yes.
it can always purify your stones. But this
Yep.
is the orange selenite in the raw form. It's just a little
Nice.
bar of it. And this is not real expensive. I mean, for our ritual, I ended up getting a box of them and giving one to everybody because we did a working where they had to hold this and a onyx and a clear quartz. So they needed this with them. And then I got this. This is one of my favorite pieces. I keep it on my desk all the time. This is an orange selenite heart.
Wow.
I love this. And it just, I just love it. I went through a phase where I really wanted to work on my sacral chakra right before this ritual, amazingly. And so I did a lot of looking into orange stones. And I do like carnelian, but not so much. I really prefer the orange selenite. I think that's really, really cool. But you
Pretty.
can use other stones too. Rose quartz will work. Clear quartz, of course, you can always use during your rituals. It's a great amplifier stone. So, any kind of working that you're doing, you probably are going to want to have that clear quartz involved because it does amplify literally whatever you're doing.
Hmm.
Amethyst is a stone that you can use. I have no idea how that relates to the orange and the sacral chakra, but they always mention amethyst. Bloodstone, that's another one. I mean, how literal can you get? You're talking about the womb and they're giving
Yes.
you bloodstone. Garnets, rubies, turquoise, which again, don't know how that relates to the sacral chakra or anything, but people are using turquoise and onyx. Now, onyx I can see because it's a grounding stone.
Yes.
And it looks great next to a garnet, and they're using garnets. That's the only thing I can figure out. So anyway, so
Well, and I think what's important, as you said, is use what you have. And this
yeah.
is that time to really, because this is that time of cleansing. We want to clean things up. We want to straighten up. And it just give that opportunity to go, you know what? That does apply to this. And
Mhm.
you're stretching your brain, and that's very good. And if you, as with anything magical, if you put some intention on it, great, it's going to stick. It's going
Yeah, and as you go further in your own practice, you'll find that you just get better at that.
to.
And you
Mhm.
have less and less need of, oh, I have to have all 150 correspondences in order to. No, you don't. You got a little salt, you got a clear quartz, you got a little piece of carnelian, you're good. You don't need all this stuff. You just
Yeah.
don't.
Yep.
That's a false equivalency. It's not going to make it better. It's
Mhm.
just going to maybe kind of be distracting to what you're supposed to be doing. Now, another thing that is associated with this celebration pretty commonly is to make a breed's cross. And the breed's cross, you've got one, I've got one. Here's my little
Yep.
one. Of course, mine's sparkly.
What? Yours is sparkly?
Mine is sparkly. Well, when I went to go make this, I just could not find anywhere just something that was even somewhat natural for people to bend into the cross. So I ended up having to buy pipe cleaners. So here we go. Here's what I did. And pipe cleaners were really easy to use. So
Yep.
that's what we did. So,
And
and kids can even do this. So if you're doing a gathering where it's all different ages, making one of these crosses is a really good thing to do. It gives people something to focus on. But word to the wise, practice quite a few times before you start. Because
Yes.
you're not going to remember if you did it 10 years ago, you're not going to remember exactly how to start it and which way it goes and how to make it come out all nice looking. But yeah, this one is yeah, I enjoyed this. This was
I mean,
really fun. It was a
yeah.
good little thing to do. It's a bit meditative once you get the beginning started.
Yes.
It's like a little meditation, as you go bending everything around and then you end up with the final product. But honestly, the pipe cleaners were just so easy to work with. I know they're not natural,
Yes.
but they're very easy.
Yes. I fully support the pipe cleaners as well. So,
Especially if you have kids, because when you're buying the pipe cleaners, you'll probably have a gazillion left over and you can just give them to the
yeah.
kids and they'll just make 45 of them rather than stopping you every 5 seconds and going, what do you mean? What's that for? What do you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's really nice because I am also, and I may be getting ahead of myself. As you're doing this, it's meditative,
Hmm.
and we are thinking. There are things about the, oftentimes one of the things that we do in our coven is we'll bless the seeds of that which we want to grow in the new year,
Yeah.
literally and figuratively.
Mhm.
So I know when I did this, I know I was concentrating on something very specific. And then that way it is a symbol. You're working with it. You're making your magic physical.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's around. I see it.
Mhm.
I move it around because it's what I need to see. And it's quite beautiful. It's quite lovely.
Yeah. Another thing that's similar to that you could do instead of the cross, if you're just like, oh, they did that last year, I don't want to do it, is not magic. You know, get yourself a really long piece of cord, string, hemp, twine, yarn, and do a little knot magic instead of the twisting and doing the brigade's cross. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a fancy one.
Yes.
This is very fancy. There you
Yeah.
go. Um, we did the Imbolc ritual that I put together. I did a really, really deep meditation about the sacral chakra,
Okay.
and fortunately, people didn't like pass out or anything. They liked it. They paid attention.
Good.
My meditations tend to be a bit long. So I was really cognizant of the fact that it was going to be long. So I told everybody it was going to be long, but it was necessary because I wanted them to balance their chakras. So we went through all of that. I wanted them
Mhm.
to be uber, uber relaxed. So I
Yes.
went through very, very long time of breathing and relaxing and going through all the parts of the body. And then we did a visualization that was for birthing. So we kind of like did the visualization of birthing a ewe. And as we did that, we also just went out into the ethers. I think most people ended up at the Akashic Records.
Mhm.
And we really gave everyone the chance to kind of rebirth themselves, which was
Powerful.
just, yeah, it was really, really cool. And, we had the stones out and everything. I just, it was a whole production. I usually go way overboard with my stuff. But one thing that I did just for myself for in bulk was I wanted to have success. I wanted to be able to express myself adequately to
Mhm.
everybody and impart to them the information about Imbolc that I felt was important for that moment. Because,
Uh-huh.
as an astrologer, I'm always thinking about that moment in time. Why are we here right now? What's important right now? What's going on right now? What can I help people with right now? So I had a lot of things that I wanted to get over to, impart to people. So I made myself a breed doll.
Oh, beautiful.
So I just went to Michael's, got myself one of those little, fabric dolls and
Uh-huh.
got her a few things to dress her. She has a little necklace. She has a little crystal on her necklace. And she has on lipstick.
Of
She's
course.
cute. But I put my intentions into my doll, and then I was able to just kind of relax and let it go. And me and her did the ritual. So it was very powerful for me.
That is yeah. Yeah, I'm getting full body chills on that. Anytime you can connect with a goddess that directly and they're co-piloting, I mean, it works out beautifully. And I imagine everybody who was in that had a completely different level of experience. That's powerful.
Yeah, it was cool. It's always my was always my experience in doing the sabbats that, you know, we would, our high priestess would challenge us to find whatever deity we want to invite in for us, that we
Hmm.
didn't have to do what everybody else did. We could do what we wanted to do. And in the process of doing that every single time, the only way that I can express it is that once I found the deity, it was like we were falling in love.
Hmm.
Like there was a complete rapport and trust and union between me and the deity or deities. You know, sometimes they were pairs. Like we did one, I can't remember what, I think this might was probably an Ostara. We did Isis and Osiris, you know, just like,
Mm,
of course you're going to do that, you know, rebirth and everything for
yeah,
Ostara. That's pretty powerful.
yeah.
But it was real. Isis was already one of my deities, but choosing her for a particular Sabbat was just really strong for me. And Breed was, I did not know that much about her when I chose her. So
Oh,
because I didn't know much about her, and I knew she was the common deity that most people chose, I went with it anyway, which is very not me. Like I'm always trying to go off the beaten path. So I was really pleased with everything that happened for that. And
hmm.
yeah, so it was fun. It was really fun. So yeah, I had my little doll. I had my, oh, and another thing that I love if people are going to do this celebration is to make a I don't know what you call it. I call it a candle bowl, but you take a bowl of water, and if you have, you know, when they used to sell strawberries in those little green cups that were a grid, those little plastic baskety things that they used to sell them in
Uh-huh.
before they put everything in just clear plastic. Well, they don't make them anymore, so you have to make your own grid. You used to be able to use one of those, and you would turn it upside down and stick the candles in the grid, fill the bowl with water, and freeze it. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, now you can just take tape and make a grid across the top of the bowl, stick the candles in, fill it with water, and then freeze the bowl. And so, what you do during the ritual is that's one of the first candles that you light once you light up all your other, you know, special candles for all of your deities and guests and everything. Then you light those candles, and throughout the ritual, they melt down into the bowl. And somewhere, I think I still have the congealed ball of wax that came out of that because it was really beautiful.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a cool thing to do, and it doesn't require anybody to know anything or to say words or any, you just let it burn. And it's
Yes.
just really pretty. It's just really pretty. The candlelight glistening off of the ice as it melts is just really
Mhm.
pretty. So,
That's really powerful. I was also reminded, you know, as we're cleaning our altars and we're doing that cleaning, this is a great time to burn or offer up those things that were on the altar that are, you know, some dried flowers. Okay, it's time to refresh that. And so I know for our practice we'll be having holiday appropriate food, and we leave enough left over for the goddess to put out for the animals as an offering. So
nice.
this idea of okay, let's clean up. We can do some burning of stuff, um, you know, carefully, responsibly, all that stuff. But it really refreshes things. That's really neat. Yeah, thank you for that. I've forgotten about that.
Yeah. Yeah, cleaning at this time is super, super important, especially when you think about it, if you've been indoors and, you got the salty boots and the old socks and the,
Yep.
even things that you have laid out for decoration, maybe post Yule holidays,
Mhm.
maybe you took all the Yule stuff down and then you put something up maybe for New Year's. That is spent. That is done. The energy for that, the chi is gone.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
need to throw that out and
Mhm.
take your besom and sweep out that old energy and bring in new energy. And
Yeah,
Imbolc is really about that.
and it is very close to the first of the month, so that's where you're blowing cinnamon in through your front door to allow prosperity and wealth to come in.
Mhm.
So it's like,
Yep, all those things. Yeah, all those things. So what other correspondences? I know for like incense and oils, we don't think of incense and oils really as having color, but
mhm.
the real plant or thing that the oil came from did have a color. So like jasmine, the jasmine flowers are white. So jasmine is a good incense or oil.
Oh yeah.
Amber is the color of the sun. Now, bay, I don't know what color the berries are, but somebody put in that bay or bay berries are part of this. Now, see, here's where I think that people are just using what they have. There isn't really a good
Mhm.
reason. They're just like, well, I got this thing and I like the smell.
Yeah,
Okay, great. And then it goes down in the encyclopedia as this is for Imbolc. But
yeah.
frankincense and myrrh, I honestly don't know what either one of those things look like in the wild, but I guess they'd be fine for it.
Yeah.
Angelica, basil, isn't basil just basil and cinnamon? Aren't they good for almost everything? I mean,
Basil and cinnamon, yes. And I Marina says, tell me more about cinnamon, Gerald. Cinnamon is a good thing to blow on the first day of the month, to put some cinnamon in your hand and blow it into your house because it encourages wealth and prosperity to come in.
yeah,
Cinnamon is a wonderful herb because it adds spice, some fire to things. It charges it up. So that's something to do on the first of the month. And
yeah,
don't worry about it. It's just like blow it in, and you're not going to be using that much cinnamon.
yeah, don't think about it too much. And then, when you think about your spices and herbs, by the way that you appreciate eating them what they are. Cinnamon is a hot spice.
It
So it's a
warms you up.
fire. It warms
Yes.
you up. So it's a fire representative. So that's why it comes in. And fire is creativity, fire is activity. So that's another reason that blowing it in makes things happen. It brings action, right? So
Mhm.
that's why you want to have it there.
Well, and also the cinnamon, it's fire, it's sacral shock chakra
That's right.
feeling.
That's
And
right.
that's because we are like Mother Earth, Gaia. Okay, stuff is going on. We need to do that. So
Yeah.
that in. So
Yeah.
it's
I have a funny story. So I had after I divorced my second husband, I had to interact with him and my stepchildren for about a year and a half, okay, after the divorce. And once I had finished with that, I kind of promised my daughters we weren't going to have much more interaction because he was pretty nasty. He was actually a dangerous person.
mm,
And so I asked my friend over to do a spell with me to just kind of like release me, but also kind of like send all the juju back to him.
yep.
And we found real chestnuts. Now,
Oh.
real chestnuts look like the COVID virus under a microscope. They're
Hmm.
all spiky. They're these spiky balls, only the spikes are really pointy. So they look like they would hurt. If you
Yeah,
press them.
it's perfect though. I love
So we
that.
did our whole spell. We did all the stuff that we were going to do. And she had like just mass quantities of these chestnut balls. So we hung them up like almost like little Christmas ornaments. We made little decorations out of them, like three of them at a time, little balls. We hung them all over the window sills and the doors and stuff like that. And I kept those little suckers there for about 2 years, and they did their job. I had no more problems with that person.
I love that.
Yeah. So when you see things out in the wild that look like something you might be able to use in some way, you should probably pick it up because you might be able to use it.
Well, yeah, that's also a really good point, because if you're going outside and you're starting to see these things peeking up, pay attention to them. You don't need to grab them and run with them at home. You need to notice them, see what they look like. What might you have around your house that could resemble that for you for any type of working?
Yes, yes, that's right. That's right. So you can look up, you can Google this stuff about what other oils or incense might be appropriate for Imbolc. I mean,
Mhm.
think of the baby lambs, the ewes, think of the childbirth process, which can be a little scary, but think of the sun, think of the snow melting, think of milk, think of oranges, think of, those kinds of things, and let it come to you. Well, I relate that to this. Okay, that's a correspondence for you. Use that. Um, so there's also, you can make musical correspondences, and in this case it would be like any music you like, but also something with bells, right? For some reason bells are associated with Imbolc, and again, I don't know if there's like a bell around the neck of the animals, or
Could be.
that could be it. We did colors. Salt, you can use salt to mimic snow. Now you
Oh,
can
of
go
course.
crazy like me and go down to Michael's and get that stuffing stuff, and make like a whole snow landscape, but I'm
Mhm.
cuckoo, so you don't have to do that. um, oh, another thing that I don't think we said about the Brigide's cross is the quality of protection that it brings. That equal arm cross is really about protection, and
Mhm.
it also does represent fire and lightning, because lightning can catch things on fire, and the zigzag of the pattern in the cross is like lightning. So I mean, some of
Love
these
that.
things you're really stretching it, but it's
Well,
there.
you know, and also think about, what did we have around for Yule? What are the things that we would have around that can help lead us into that?
Hmm.
Some people, they put cloves into citrus fruits.
Yep, I was just thinking that. Yep.
Things that, anything that I always like to think about, okay, what were the two holidays before? What did I have at Samhain? What did I have at Yule? So I think in threes. Okay, so Samhain, Yule, and Imbolc. What are those three seasons going to have as an overlap? Hashtag overcomplicator. It's just me. It's the way I work. So I think in threes. It's like, okay.
Well, that's a really good thing to just be aware of, because at Samhain you probably do have things that are orange and maybe
Hmm.
yellow, and
Yep.
that's going to go for Imbolc. At Yule, you're going to have things that also represent the Sun King. So your oranges, or orange balls, ornaments that are orange or just look like the sun. I mean, it doesn't have to be the color orange. It could be gold metal. You could have jewelry that represents the sun. I mean, there's
Yes.
all sorts of, use your imagination. There's all sorts of stuff,
Hmm.
that you can use. Now, in some of the websites, when you go to look for correspondences, they say, I love this one, and I'm going
Uh-oh.
to get into another one that is really truly a good correspondence. But they talk about corn dollies. Now, personally, I do not see how that relates to Imbolc.
I don't either. That's more llamas.
It is llamas, because
It's
that's the
the
time
other
of year when you
crossbreed.
have corn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have corn in dead of winter. There's no corn. You've run out of corn.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you're down to eating the seeds, the dried fruit,
yeah.
all of the stuff that you're doing, which is why a lot of times we're talking about seeds, because and the root vegetables, because that's what we have left. So,
And God bless the people that do have some corn and can make those corn dollies, but it doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. Another correspondence with Imbolc that actually is a pretty strong one is wells and water. So if you think of all of your Celtic connections, the chalice well and things like that, some people have gone so far as to create a kind of well or take the whole group on a little trek to the nearest small body of water, not a huge body of water, but or have a well set up in your yard, although that's a little weird because you're not going to dig a well, but you'd have the representation of a well. And all of these things are also linked. How are they linked? Well, water is healing. That's it. That's the main connection, is that it's water and water is healing. So if you also, though, the trip to the chalice well, I think is a part of the mythology of Imbolc. And so all of you, your homework is to go figure out what is that trek all about, because it is a spiritual journey, right? And that walking to the well, coming back from the well, you're changed, you're healed, you're different. That's another huge Imbolc journey that you might want to look into. And yeah.
Okay,
So
thinking about water, animals are giving birth, so you're going to be cleaning off the lambs, and you need water to be able to do it. So there's, again, that cleansing aspect to refresh, to help move from one stage. We're moving from Yule into Ostara, which is, we'll be, like and subscribe, everybody. We'll talk about those.
Yeah. That's right.
I have to put this up. This is my husband, Jeffrey. Bayberry incense is good for house blessings and warding off evil from your home, and also drawing in prosperity and good fortune.
So would it just, the connection to Imbolc be just about the house and hearth?
Well, the goddess, she is about the hearth and home.
Yeah.
So
then that makes sense. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Because some of these, I'm just thinking, oh, that's all they had in their cupboard. Like that isn't really a correspondence. They just couldn't think of anything else, so they threw that in there. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. Personally, I like a little herb or a spice in all my workings. I like it. It's a little grounding. It's a little connection to the more natural world. My world is so, Muggle 3D and technology that I really appreciate anytime I can have something that's the least bit natural. Just makes me feel like a human.
I love it.
Yeah. So, so bayberries, sure, I'll go for that. Although I don't keep them on hand.
Yeah.
I keep bay leaves on hand, but I don't keep bayberries on hand.
Well,
and are those two different plants? Are those two different plants? Bay leaves, they don't make bayberries, do they? I just don't know.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know, but my go-to for my go-to herb for most of my workings are bay leaves, because they're like the quartz crystal of herbs.
Yeah.
And they're so, I write on them.
I was just going to say, I mean, it's like having a pad of paper. You can write on them what you want.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let's see, what else do we have in here? Looking for signs of spring's return. Yes. Flowers to decorate your altar, although it's limited, but you could always go to Michael's and get some fake ones. A dish of snow. If you still have snow on the ground, you could literally bring in a dish of snow, stick your candles upright in the snow, and as they melt, of course, your candles are going to light your altar on fire. So be very careful with that.
Yeah. I think Jeffrey is telling me he wants me to start doing the spring cleaning. And for that, I will do this. I hear you. I hear you.
I used to try to get the coven to come and clean out our temple, which is in my basement, every year right around this time. And they were just like, really? And I'm like, yeah, you guys, I clean the house every time you guys come. You're coming for an Sabbat and a Sabbat. So yeah, get your little butts over here and clean up your space.
We did that as we haven't done it recently because of the times.
Yep.
But part of getting ready for the celebration is we come and we clean the entire covenstead. We clean all the statuary. We're given an opportunity to clean our magical tools, to sharpen our athames, to do all of that. And we are doing it in with a spiritual mindset. We're not talking about what the cat did and the kids and all that stuff. We're bringing that in. We're focused on, we're clearing this stuff out.
Yeah.
And you know,
and that is so powerful to do as a group. That is so cool to do as a group.
Yep.
You just get so much out of it that is a whole. I mean, I love a clean house, but if you can do that kind of activity with the people that you love in your coven, that is just uber cool. That's really cool.
Bay leaves are from the bush, or bay berries are from the bush. Bay leaves are from the bay laurel plant.
So they're two different things, right?
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I kind of thought they were, but I had never really looked into it. So good. So I will have that.
Cinnamon brooms.
We got the wells, and then if you think about animals that are associated with Imbolc, so any animal that does a little burrowing or hibernating, I would say could be associated. So like your bears, your groundhogs, your skunks, your fox, your rabbits, your squirrels, your chipmunks, all of them.
Yes.
But then you have the animals that are ready to give birth. So like your deer, your cattle or cows, your lamb, your sheep. What do pigs do? Do pigs do that too?
They give birth, yes.
But yeah, but are they like the big springtimey thing?
I don't know.
I've never seen very much reference to pigs in a lot of these things. I don't know. It's very weird. And then just plain, let's talk about what foods. You could say, well, all white foods, very boring, although my stepson would love that. But dairy dishes, butter is very important. Why is butter important? Because it's yellow, like the sun. Come on,
and
people.
It's made from milk.
And it's made from milk, so it's doubly important. Cheese, same reasoning. Not all cheese is yellow, but there's a spectrum there. Oat cakes, and I don't know why oats in particular were such a favorite, but I'm very glad they are because they're gluten-free usually.
I would say probably because that lasted through the winter.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think so. Pancakes are a big thing for Imbolc, and I think it's because it is the last vestiges of the flour or whatever you have, that you can use. And my personal favorite, people are also, scones with custard and blackberries. Well, that's if you've still got good food around to make all that stuff with. But what I love at Imbolc is colcannon. And colcannon is basically mashed potatoes with greens in it. So what I make is, put on the potatoes to boil, and then you cook up some kind of greens, and it can be any kind of green. It could be cabbage, it could be kale, it could be spinach, it could be broccoli, it could be broccolini, it could be green beans, peas, whatever green, something green. Saute the greens in onions and butter. Well, I use vegan butter, but that's another story. And then once you mash your potatoes, before you start putting all the other stuff in, you put in this stuff, and it's yummalicious. It is very, very yummy. And if you really need a little something else on there, you could put some grated cheese. That would be appropriate, and it would taste yummalicious. So colcannon is just big old fancy mashed potatoes. So
I love that. Mashed potatoes are never a wrong choice, in my opinion.
Me too. I mean, if I could live on mashed potatoes, that's all I would eat because I just really love them.
I actually have a friend who made colcannon, and she would make it with purple cabbage because it was pretty.
Ooh, that is pretty. Now, when I first started making this, I had people who were saying, "Oh yeah, let's put a little bacon in there." And I'm like, okay, first of all, nowhere in my liturgy does anything mention pigs. So I don't know why I would put bacon in there. Second of all, I'm vegetarian, almost vegan, so I'm not eating the bacon. And then this friend of mine who is really vegan, she's like, did you know that bacos are vegan? And I'm like, yeah, they're vegan, but they're complete chemicals. That's all they
Yes.
are. Now they do make some now that are not complete chemicals.
Mhm.
Louisville Jerky makes pepperoni bits, which are quite good and taste a lot like Baco's, but they're more pepperoni. They're spicier. Those would be good in there, but
Yeah.
that I wouldn't put. Or if you had like vegan sausage or something, I might put that in there. But you don't really need that,
Yeah.
especially if you're going to be using cheese and butter to the nines. Then that's plenty of stuff for
Yeah.
flavor.
And I am hungry now too. Was also having a thought because as we're shifting, as we're well, any good celebration has food to it, right?
Right? Always. You have to have food. You
And
have to have
and
food.
it's even better because people are supposed to bring something to share.
Yep.
So that's an important aspect. I'm also thinking about Imbolc is a great time to, if you are wanting to have, if you want to create anything for ritual or for your altars out of cloth,
Hmm.
this would be a good time to do it because through Yule, you could have been weaving it. And now that that's done, you could actually start sewing it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. And that would go along again with Breed because of her metal working. Pins and needles are metal. So
yeah. Oh,
that
that
would
is so
fit.
true. Yes.
Yeah, that
Yes.
would be really great. Um, but also when you had mentioned mending before, that's another thing that is
Mhm.
really, really great to do along with just clean up, just take stock. Before you step outside, make sure there's not a hole in your sock, things like that.
Correct. Yes.
So all of that stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of my whole book there on in bulk. And
That is so good.
unless you want to go through my whole meditation, which is way too long for this.
Well, and I think the key thing is I think we both have we I think it's important to we're really getting we're getting ready to go out and we're going out into the world. So this is let's make sure that we're in good shape. We have what we need. This is also a great time of the year um to plan
Yeah.
because during the final three harvest we were paying attention to figure out okay what worked what didn't work and seed catalogs are probably arriving if they have not already arrived soon.
Mhm, mhm.
Figure out where you're going to plant stuff, what you're going to put out, as well um as well as that idea of I love the idea of blessing seeds.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and I
True.
think that's great.
So true. I guess would this be also the time of year when if you were going to start things from seed, you would start them now?
Yes, you would.
Yeah. So all those seed things are not just that those things are the leftover that you can still eat, but also what seeds do you have for planting for this year?
Hmm.
And what are you going to do with that? And so if we take the seed as a metaphor, what kind of seeds are you planting for yourself for the
Yep.
rest of the year? Because this is an early part of the year. It's only the
Yes.
second month. So, if you haven't fulfilled every single New Year's resolution, or if you've changed streams. I mean, this year we started off with Mercury going direct on New Year's Day. So I would be surprised if there weren't a lot of people out there that didn't have a few wrenches in the works when it came to their plans for January. I'm sure there's a lot of people that had to
Yes.
redo or rework or tweak things or adjust things plus all the other astrological shenanigans that have been going on.
Yeah.
This is a year where adjustment is probably going to be a theme. And Imbolc is a great time to be making those adjustments. Also, another thing about the sacral chakra, that is your divine feminine, right? That is where
Mm,
she is seated. So if you think about the divine feminine as literally your womb, even if you're a divine masculine person, uh, that the womb is a dark, gooey, extremely fertile place.
yes.
It's not neat. It's not, it doesn't have a white top that you can just spray fantastic on and wipe it off and clean it up.
No.
It's gooey, it's dark. That's
Mhm.
where growth happens.
Yeah.
So realize that out of your messiness, out of your plans not working and feeling like this didn't work, now I have to make all new plans. Well, maybe not. Maybe there's something out of that gooey, dark mess that you can pull out of it and say, you know what? This is the little thread of stuff that I really want to have happen. So I'm going to salvage this. I'm going to let go the rest of that because we're letting things go. We're cleaning. We're throwing out the things that are spent, and we're pushing those little ideas, those little seeds forward for the rest of the year for ourselves. So
Yeah.
Imbolc can have that kind of power too.
I think you are absolutely right. I love this idea of it's it's like it's after the tower moment, after the rubble, and we can start going through and we clear things out and we go, oh, I didn't know that was there. That's a beautiful little gem.
Yeah.
I'm taking that with me. All of the other stuff I don't need, and I'm leaving it behind.
Yeah. Yeah. I had when I moved into this house, it was 2011, which was the year of Hurricane Irene. And, lucky me. And so my basement, I had a lot of stuff that I stuck in my basement. My mother had passed away that year. My uncle had passed away about 3-4 years before, and I had all their stuff. And I didn't know what to do with it. It was all down in my basement. So once that flooded, and it flooded, my basement filled up like a friggin' bathtub. These marvelous people from the town, mind you, I had just moved in. I don't know if they were from a church or a group, or I don't know, but these people just descended on my house to help me clean through my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they took everything out of the basement and they laid it all out on my backyard. And I went through and told them, do you want us to clean this off? Or do you want to throw it out? Or what do you want to do? And it was such a relief to have that happen. And out of all of that mess, my eyes land on an old photograph of my grandmother when she was like 25 that I didn't even know I had. And I looked down and I'm like, yeah, I don't really care that much about that stuff, but this, I'm taking this inside.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's that kind of stuff. Like, you're going to retrieve what means the most to you and let the other crap go.
Yes. And that is so beautiful. And I love how this was your individual work, yet supported by a group of people.
Yeah, they just came. They were like little angels. They just descended on my house and did all this stuff for me. And I was like, how did I ever qualify for this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any of you. How did you even know I existed? It was
Right.
crazy. It was crazy, but it was wonderful. It was very welcomed. And I said, thank you, universe. Thank you. Some more, please, because it's what I really needed at the time. And I got to say, that hurricane really just cleaned out my basement. Like,
Yes.
I didn't have to hang on to all of that stuff of my mother's and my uncle's. It was like, here, Colleen, I know this is a bit dramatic, but you like dramatic. So we're going to do it this way for you. I was like,
Wow.
thank you, universe. This is great.
Okay. Astrological Tarot has posted a question. I received a couple of candles covered in herbs and dried flowers from a friend in the mail, and she said they were for Imbolc. I'm clueless. What types of candle magic are done for Imbolc?
So all the stuff that we were talking about with the cleaning out and the reforming your intentions about the year, all of that stuff can be done at Imbolc. If you have any kind of healing to do, you could have those candles on your altar and light them at the appropriate time in your working. And you could also have a bowl or bowls of water on your altar to facilitate that healing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say. And anything that allows you to look forward to the future with fresh eyes, because this is the time of the year when the ewes are born and they're fresh, they're new, they're just born. So they're looking at the world with no baggage whatsoever.
Correct.
So maybe this working can help you to kind of, pull off whatever's kind of distracting you or causing you to have any kind of opinion that's holding you back. Just let that kind of go and try to go forward with fresh, everything fresh and new.
Yes. Yeah. Unencumbered.
Unencumbered. Yeah. I would be careful though about burning those candles, because when there's a lot of stuff on the candles, especially herby, seedy things, and even things from flowers that are a little bit like almost like a dried berry or something like that, those kinds of things can pop when they get on fire. So be very careful. And certainly if there's any kind of like ribbons or anything like that, take that off before you burn it. But if there's like a couple of little crystal chips embedded in there, that's fine. That's just going to fall into the dish once you burn the candle. But with the herbs, I would be just a slight bit, like not too much around them. Like don't have them too close to anything.
Yeah. I would also.
Just burn them in your kitchen to be safe, Michelle. Just please
Well,
don't burn your house down. Sorry,
and
Gerald.
no, I mean, Michelle, I have that. I've done a couple of shows on candle magic, so all of those things are applicable to this one. Just think about what it is this time of the year and put your astrology into it. All of that. I love the idea of also of you can. This is setting intentions. It's also transitions from one thing to another. Imbolc is a transition from Yule to spring to Ostara. So, Maruda said, engrave a candle with a word that is special meaning to you and light the candle on the 31st and the 1st to signify new beginning in your life. So,
good.
yeah. And so, yeah. And I think, I always think, it's beautiful that somebody made something for you.
Yeah.
It's thinking about for you and for Imbolc. It's great. It's like, wow.
Yeah. The whole thing with the sacral chakra, remember that's where birth begins. That's where a new life begins. So there's always a relationship there, right? You and the child, you and your mother, you and your partner, you and your friend, you and your cat. There's always relationship implied in anything to do with Imbolc, I feel, because of that womb reference, because there's an other there. There's another person there. So.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah. So.
And all about setting intentions. And this is the time when I'm going to glob onto this. We've been inside with the family because it's been cold. We're driving each other crazy. Now we go inside of ourselves to figure out what is it that I want to bring with me into the new year, into the new season.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Book has said Imbolc can be so healing and joyful. I was talking to a friend of mine who not a coven member, but he said, he's like, I love this season. It's one of the most powerful ones. It sets the tone for the year.
Nice. Very nice. That's good. Do you know what sign they are?
Probably a Leo.
Oh, so that's the opposite of Aquarius. So yeah, this would be a big boost of energy for that person. Very cool. Yeah. I think it's very interesting when people feel that certain times of year are just kind of like, yeah, this is the best time. Usually it will relate to their sun, moon, or rising sign, and how they feel the planets and the energies are supporting them. And it does repeat, I find. I know for me, every year, the month of August is just the best time of year.
Yes.
Just the best time of year for me.
Well, and this is earlier this week. I was having a lull. I was having lows in my own energy and feeling very, very stuck. I'm on the other side of that because Imbolc is coming up. So it's that idea of it's always darkest before the dawn. There's a whole lot of pain and grossness, and it's messy to be birthed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You took
Yes.
the words right out of my mind. Exactly.
Yep.
That's yeah, that's really great.
So
Yeah. Yeah, a lot. I know a lot of people don't like thinking about the dark, gooey side of the divine feminine, but she is dark and she is messy and she is our creativity and she is giving birth all the time. You just have to pay attention to what she's doing because she is powerful. And you
yes.
can ride that wave of power. You can reinvent yourself. You can take things that you think are, seemingly not the best for you and rid yourself of whatever causes that to happen and reinvent yourself, rebrand yourself
Yes.
anytime you want, really. But Imbolc is an especially powerful time to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This has been great.
Yeah, this has been really, really good. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for your wonderful comments. And
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
and Jeffrey, thank you so much for your information.
And he's on the other side of the camera. I don't know if you just saw him walk in. Say you're welcome, Jeffrey.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm great for getting myself down a rabbit hole and then turning around and going, wait, does anybody know which way I'm supposed to go?
Well, and I think and I think you really started this off right, and I would encourage people to seriously think about it. What are the things that you have around you right now that can inspire you? Form your own traditions. That's extremely important because you are powerful. Use that power and focus to get you where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Honor your requests. Honor
Yeah,
your own requests. It's so important. Really, really important.
they're so good.
Lisa DeHart Hansen, you can make coconut bacon. I love you. I didn't know that.
Is that true?
I don't know. Is it not true?
I don't know. I'm just like going, okay. Let me know how that works out because I'm curious.
And Book Bewitched likes my wait, I lost it. I'll show it. Book Bewitched likes my symbology, messy, bloody, and dark tradition. Well, that's me kind of in a nutshell, isn't it?
But see, that's where see, I think this is what people I'm removed from it. If I were not removed from it, I would understand that. I would appreciate it and I would go, that's messy, that's dark, that's gross, and it all turns out okay. That's part of the rhythm of natural. That's the rhythm of life.
Yes, and
No.
and life is creation. And anything that you go into that you are creating something, you're going to have that moment where you just think it's never coming
Mhm.
together. It's never going to happen. And then all of a sudden it does.
Yep.
Because the process has to go through that messiness. That's
Yes.
a fertile ground. That's very, very fertile ground. And, if you avoid that and just think, oh, I'm just going to spray the fantastic on it and wipe it off. No, no, you have to allow that to happen.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but
Um,
right.
yeah. Michelle Marie said, I get it, Colleen. My key to South Node is in the Scorpio Sagittarius
Gandanta.
Kandanta. Kali, the Dark Mother, is my go to divine feminine goddess.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and not everybody loves that, but if you can embrace it, it's quite creative, it's quite powerful, and I don't know. I'm an old broad. You know what? I don't care what people think anymore, and I love the power that I have. So, I'm okay with it, and if it means that sometimes people are going to see that dark, bloody, messy, dark shit, well, that's life.
Yes. Oh, and it's funny, and I'll share this with you, Colleen, and those of you, don't listen to this, but it's awesome. I'm working with something in my coven, and there was a question about what is the gender of the thing that you were making or that you're going to be manifesting. And I'm like going, of course it's female, because I want it to be able to do all the things. I'm like going, of course. Of course.
Yeah, because that's where the power is. Yeah, that's right. Good. That's really good. Because it's within everybody. It doesn't matter what your genitalia was when you were born. Everybody has divine feminine and divine masculine.
Yep.
It's a matter of becoming friends with it and using it.
And knowing when to use it, and knowing when to let your one that you're naturally pulled to step aside so the other one can do their work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is great.
Yay.
Great. Yay. Thank you. Thank you for coming and letting us do this. Thank you, chatters, for your very, very kind and respectful questions and comments. I really appreciate that.
It's just so good.
And yeah, I hope everybody enjoys their Imbolc. It is on February 4th or 5th. I think for most of the United States, probably more like February 5th, which is late. Usually it is closer to the 2nd or 3rd most years. But maybe it's because it's a leap year. I don't know. Michelle Marie, do you have any input on that? I don't know why. Some years things are just later than others. So
because the reading that I did, some people start as early as the 1st, and it can go to the 5th. So it's perfect.
Yeah, you can do that too. Absolutely, you can do that.
So
all right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for coming, Gerald. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your notes are greatly appreciated because it makes the conversation so rich. I love that.
And I love the detail that you go into. And I personally don't mind a rabbit hole.
Yay for rabbit holes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And yes, I did see Purple Elephant Deb H is listening in. So
hi Deb.
And yes, it's a leap year.
Yeah. But is that what makes things a day later? Like Imbolc is like 2 days later than it usually is. But I don't know.
Because isn't the equinox early this year too, or it feels early?
I could look that up really quick. The last year the equinox was a day late, and everybody insisted that I was crazy, and I said, no, I'm just going by the astrology. It's actually not on the 21st, it's on the 22nd. It was just nutty, but I don't know. Well, that's for another day.
Yep. So yeah. Well, thanks everybody.
Well, thank you everybody. I'm reluctant to sign off, but
it's such good energy.
It's very nice energy. It's really, really nice.
Well, okay, and Sherry put this up. Rabbit holes make it better for those of us who don't know anything about Wicca and want to learn.
Oh, good.
Great.
Good. Glad you feel that way.
Yeah, because we could probably talk another 2 hours or so.
Oh yeah, Gerald and I could bejabber on this stuff for hours on end. And poor Jeffrey would be running to Google every 15 minutes for me. So
well, and what's funny is he probably wouldn't, because it's probably all up in here.
Okay, great. So that saves. That's great. So. All right, guys. Well, I think reluctantly we have to say goodbye, and I'm just going to hold up my little heart again. Thank you. Love to all of you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything. And we'll see you next time for Ostara. And hopefully by then I will be on my way to many, many more subscribers. Who knows? And Gerald too.
Yes.
All right. So thanks everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye. Mwah.